Welcome back to the CryptoLabs Passive Income YouTube channel. Let's talk about concentrated liquidity pools. Let's talk about setting ranges, some rules around it, and really how we think about it. And I'll take you through the step-by-step process so you can earn as much return while staying within a safe margin and within range. We want to be in range for as long as possible. It's not about setting, the tightest range so we can make as much as possible per day. Because if you only earn it for one day and you move out of range and you get converted all into one asset and you don't earn for the next 5-6 days, you're doing worse off than setting a wider range, earning fees every single day. There's some pools I'm in that have been in range for probably 2 months, earning fees every single day. And that is how you win the long game when it comes to concentrated liquidity. So we're going to go through some lessons. This will be a bit more of an educational video. Of course, this YouTube channel is full of different, we had a earn 40-50% on stablecoin video come out a few days ago where we explore some protocols, etc., etc. But the education piece is important because if we don't know what we're doing, we're going to lose our money. We're going to get into pools because we think we're going to make a ton of money and we're going to end up losing our money. And I don't want that for you. So please, please pay attention and take the education part seriously. Inside the UIG, as you can see, it's extremely comprehensive. If you are a member, please, please, please be RSVPing for these calls, these True DeFi implementation calls. We actually get into pools, look at positions, set ranges with you. These technical analysis sessions on Thursdays, bring a pool, bring an asset, bring a pair you're looking at. We'll do TA with you. And these Friday calls, these investor calls, these will blow your mind, especially the report you get because we share different opportunities, new pools, new positions, new ranges, etc. So definitely be involved in that. Here in the six-figure DeFi Earner Challenge, this is what I want to cover today. Now we have a few missions here, $3 per day, $10 per day. Here in the Quest 3, here's where we really start talking about concentrated liquidity and setting tighter ranges so you can earn more on your investment. That said, you have to have the basics down before you start playing with tighter ranges, which is why we introduced this at the $750 per month mark. Again, it's not science. So we want to look at a few really, really quick things here. First one we want to look at is look at the difference in fees that you can be earning. So here's 5% fees if you were basically full range. So you could be earning 5% on this Matic USDC, 5% a year. That's $52 on $1,000. Now, again, this is estimated, but just to drive this point home, that's $52 on $1,000. Still way more than you'll make on your savings account, but you'd probably be better off putting $1,000 in some index fund, on some insured, et cetera, et cetera. Ooh, that doesn't really interest me that much. What if you start setting a range and it's a fairly wide range? Now you're up to 40%. That's $400 on your $1,000. Again, this is a blue chip Matic USDC, but still for many, including me, that's not worth the risk of participating in DeFi. 180%. Now you're setting tighter ranges and now you're, doubling your money over a year. Now again, this isn't a Matic USDC. We're in a lot of pools that are 300% with even wider ranges than this, but this is just to drive the point home. It makes a massive difference what range you set in your concentrated liquidity, 5%, 40%, 180%. But that's still not enough. We're going to go into this lesson, setting tighter ranges. I really want to cover some of this. This is where you want to start looking at charts. Now, we're not trading, but you want to be familiar with the charts. So, you could go on something like Dex Screener, or you could go on TradingView or whatever platform you want to use to just some really basic TA. And I'm going to cover some of this here. We're going to cover 5 fundamentals of technical analysis, so for range selection, so how we set ranges, and then we're going to do 5 practical tips for range selection. Number 1, price trends. Where's the market trending? Upwards, downwards, sideways. I love sideways because it's much easier to set ranges, but we want to know where's the market trending to. Now, if it's trending upward, we want to be in more correlated pairs, and our ranges may be set a little bit more to the upside. If we're in a downward trend, then we may want to get into something we're long-term bullish on paired with a stable coin, and fundamentally we're dollar cost averaging back into this. Now, if it's a sharp downward trend, we may just want to be out of the market temporarily, which is fine as well. But we've got to ask ourselves, where is this price trending? 2, support and resistance. Where are the key price levels where we're kind of failing to break through. So typically you'll zoom out. We're not looking at daily now. We're probably looking at a monthly, quarterly. We might even be looking over the last 6 months, especially if things have been really moving sideways. And we want to find where's that support and where's the resistance so we can set our ranges within that. Moving averages, that's fundamentally, you could set up 7-day, 30-day, 90-day, 180-day, whatever you want, but it kind of smooths out the moving average, and it can be a helpful tool for setting ranges because we want to be potentially in a moving average over the last 90 days between some support and resistance. So again, we can be in range for as long as possible and be earning fees for as long as possible. Then you do have to look at volume. So if markets are moving and if there's a ton of volume moving through a DEX or through a pair, both up and down, so whether it's being bought or it's being sold, we'll know that, hey, price levels may swing wildly. We want to maybe set wider ranges, but because volume is up, we'll be earning the same, if not more fees. And then, and this is a little more technical, chart patterns and indicators. So some really basic chart patterns. We're talking head, shoulders, triangles, using some really simple indicators like RSI. If you're kind of like, then just head on over to the technical analysis arena in here. There's a beautiful community. David is an amazing instructor. You can always do some TA, here's some support resistance, and we can, of course, support you through that. And there's a TA course, of course. So you can understand the basic concepts and actually understand support resistance, moving averages, candlestick patterns, and you can actually get a deep education on how that works. And once you learn this once, you'll be a pro and you can use this over and over and over. So make sure you don't skip that if you are in the UIG, or if you're joining us, make sure that you utilize that. Back to the 5 practical tips. All right, here we go. So start with major trends and levels. So when you're first looking at a chart, zoom out, look at the major trends and where's support resistance. It's easy to see on a chart, and you can just draw a horizontal line. Where's support and resistance and where are the major trends? Let's zoom way out. Like David says, when in doubt, zoom out. Then you might want to put on some layers and put on some additional tools, moving averages, maybe a volume analysis, any indicators that you like to look at to give us a little more perspective. Now, again, we're not day trading, so we're not zooming into the daily and having a look at the candles moving up and down every 5 minutes. We want to zoom out and just have a look at, okay, what are the markets looking like zoomed out? So we're not reacting, we're not getting greedy, we're not setting super tight ranges. 3, and this is why we recommend not being in 60 different pools. In fact, some of our biggest earners they're probably in 6 pools, maybe 7 pools. We got one member, he's almost at $1,000 or just past $1,000 a day right now. He's only in 6 pools. But we know the assets, and the more comfortable we get with the assets, the more we understand those assets, the easier it is, A, to stay updated, and 2, to keep track of it. 4, risk management. You've got to remember the risk. The tighter you get, the more risk you're taking. Risk of impermanent loss, obviously risk of being converted into one asset, risk of getting out of range, and now you're not earning fees, and now you have to spend, although not a lot, but it's going to be $1, $1.50, depending what chain you're on, to rebalance. You're going to be more active, so it's going to take more of your time. But, of course, the tighter you go and the more confident you are with your TA and understanding where the market may be moving, the higher fees you're going to earn. And so the more money you're going to make. And you just got to set what's right for you. I'm a very passive investor, so I'll set wider ranges. I don't care. I want to earn fees over the long term, and I don't want to be glued to my computer 24/7. And then finally, you can backtest. So test your range selection strategy against historical data, and there are more and more tools for this, to gauge its effectiveness before applying it in the live market. So you can just say, okay, here's what I think. Now let's backtest it against all the data that exists on this pair or whatever it is you're looking at, or on this asset, and you can make modifications or you can alter your decision based upon that. Now, I don't know if this sounds extremely complex, but it's not. You can do this in 5 or 10 minutes once you know what you're doing. Look at a chart, support, resistance, some trend lines, maybe even watching the asset for a while. You understand where the market overall is going, and you can set ranges according to that. Now, what's really cool is I would rather go wider on a range. I would rather go wider, start wider, keep looking at that pair, looking at the markets, and you could slowly cinch things in. That's not the end of the world. And again, remember, the trends. Where is the market heading? Because then you'll make decisions. And I'll leave a video up here when it comes to correlation and understanding that. I'll also leave a video here for the 7 rules of getting into a yield farm. Please study that. But depending on where the market is trending, you may select different pairs, different assets. It's not always about chasing the highest yield, because that highest yield, it can be deceiving because that's on a daily or a monthly. But if you're out of range half the month, then what's the point? I'd rather make less yield on a daily, but make more overall because I'm in a stable pool, I'm in a stable pair, it's got a ton of TVL, and I'm in a wider range, so I stay in range for longer, and I don't really want assets that are super volatile because that can really, really mess you up. Now, depending on your strategy and how you want to play this. I am in some more volatile pairs, but if I'm long-term bullish on something and it's very, very volatile, sometimes I just go single-sided staking. Of course, I make less, but you can get some really good returns on just single-sided staking of more volatile pairs, or maybe lower market cap pairs that you're long-term bullish on because you don't want to get caught with impermanent loss. I hope sometimes people are like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. It is like learning a new language. A lot of our members, when they join us within 30 days, they're in the pro chat or they're talking like pros. It's super cool to see. It is like learning a new language. So don't let that overwhelm you. Keep studying, keep chipping away, keep doing the work. And eventually you may just find yourself one day having some very deep conversations and people scratch their head not understanding what you're saying. You will be a DeFi pro, and the returns and the yields you can make will blow your mind when it comes to DeFi. That's that. So I threw a lot at you. You may have to rewatch this video once or twice, take some notes, apply it. I will leave some more educational content here and here. Maybe we'll study some stablecoin farms and how to find those, because there's some really good returns you can make. We'll look at some yield farming rules, and we'll look at some other protocols down here. So do check them out. The videos will be up here for you. Like and subscribe to this channel if this was of value to you. And with that said, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you. Peace.